This is another 4-player fixed card game which is being played with my subscribers. All of the players in this game are grandmasters. And by looking to the troop setup we've got, it seems that Africa might be my best shot, so it will be the continent I will be going for. Another possible option would be Europe, but it would probably be unlikely to hold it, having a lot of borders to guard, especially when we in the subscriber games tend to play aggressively and get rid of one of the players as soon as possible. So in these games it's usually the best to go for small continents, so unless you see you could capture a big continent quite easily and fast. And from what it looks like in the situation on the board and from the first moves which were made is that the pink player will almost absolutely be the player who gets eliminated first, as I will get Africa, the purple player Australia, and the black player South America, while for the pink player it wouldn't be so easy to get North America. And then the question is if someone even want to let him hold it, with it being with only 2 borders with these blizzards. So the pink player should really come up with something good to get out of the situation which seems to be losing. But then that's also possible that 2 players could team up on another player, leaving the pink player meanwhile alone. So for example, the black and purple players as South American and Australian players could team up on me, with me being the African player. But it would just be the most easily and efficient to team up on the pink player, who will very likely be without a continent at all, and who is already the weakest. Like seriously, at this point of the game it wouldn't be worth for me, purple and black, to try messing up with each other, while we could simply get rid of pink and be guaranteed to be in the 3-player situation. So after capturing Africa I did my part as well and crushed the pink player's army of troops in Europe. To do that as the African player, who is much more vulnerable to get invaded into his continent, it could be way more risky for me to show the serious intention to join other players on teaming up on the 4th player, as that player could consider breaking through one of my borders. Like for example in comparison with the Australian player, who is basically guaranteed to hold Australia with it having only 1 border. But it looks like the pink player is just too weak in comparison with all of us and should get eliminated soon no matter what, so unless we decide to spare him, but I don't think that any of us like that, the game would be prolonged. In the last turn I just decided to capture a territory made of 1 rather than crushing 3 pink's troops in Asia or manual rolling his biggest army, is because I didn't have a set at 4 cards, so I didn't want to bother the pink player, as then he might have really considered invading me into Africa. So I wanted to play safe, and then another thing was that the black player as the strongest player in his turn didn't weaken the pink player as the strongest player either. And I mean, obviously we don't necessarily have to be in a rush, it's good to guarantee strong position for ourselves, so in case of the 4th players who's getting teamed up retaliation, or if like one of us suddenly decided to change our front and team up with pink. So sometimes it might be good to take some more time, but guarantee for each of ourselves to end up in the 3-player situation successfully. And then when getting to the 3-player situation we will be finally able to start making a lot of attacks and be more free with our moves. And alright, the pink player is finally getting eliminated, and it looks like the black player at the same time is going for North America as well, to end up holding both of the Americas with only 2 borders to guard. And in this situation with a blizzard on Alaska, it probably wouldn't be a great idea for me to try capturing Africa with Europe to try trapping the purple player in Asia, as basically what I would be doing is shielding the black player from purple and then would be destroyed by him if wasting my troops on purple. In this situation, with me being in the middle, I'm in the worst position, and technically it would be the easiest for the black player to team up with purple, with black holding 2 border Americas, and with the purple player capturing 2 border Australia with Asia. So, getting to the 3-player situation, I decided that it would be my best shot to invade the black player into South America, and with that to potentially encourage the purple player to team up on him as well, especially after the black player added some troops in Asia after taking out pink. And as you saw, the purple player, after wiping out the black player from Asia, was smart to stop and leave his army on Ukraine, so to potentially end up holding 2 border Asia if the black player decided to strongly retaliate to me. But the black player is a smart player as well, and by seeing that potential threat when invading the purple player into Australia and actually taking it from him. So, we are not in the danger anymore of the purple player to sneakily pulling two border Asian strategy out. Obviously I couldn't let the black player holding North America next to Australia, so I invaded him into it and then captured South America. At the end I and the black player end up as small continent players while the purple player is left with no continent at all, so technically now it would be the most efficient for me and the black player to team up on purple. So as long as the black player wants to. And it seems he showed the initiative, so I decided to focus on weakening the purple player as well. Also I decided to strengthen my weaker South American border so the purple player couldn't invade it very easily without wasting a lot of troops, and to waste a lot of troops for him could be risky, especially when the black player could take over to border Asia. Though the same threat could be said about me also, about me potentially taking over to border Americas. Looking to the troops counter I was stronger, so it was probably the right decision for him to attack me. And with that to probably force me on attacking black, who might capture to border Asia right now. Though it's usually the best and safest to focus on attacking the player who has the turn after you, though obviously as long as the balance of the game is sustained it doesn't that much matter. But yeah, as you can see, the black player is betraying and attacking me with him being the player who has a turn before me, so meaning that with me being the player who has a turn after him, it would probably be the best for him to attack me. Looking from this perspective, it would be much better for the black player to team up with purple rather than with me. And this is what he is trying to achieve now after the purple player was just manual rolling one of my armies. And I was thinking what in this situation I should do, and what I decided to do is to potentially try encouraging the purple player on teaming up with me again. So after recapturing South America I just left a few troops on my border to show that I trust him, and then with my biggest army moving into Africa I crushed some troops of the black player. But as you can see, unfortunately for me, the purple player decides to choose the black player's side and let him know that he is willing to team up on me. So that doesn't look too much promising for me. For the purple player it would actually be the best to team up with me on the black player, and for me it would be the best to team up with black on the purple player. So basically it's the best for you to team up with the player who has a turn before you, on the player who has a turn after you. So in this alliance, if disregarding the troop difference and position, the black player is being favored over purple. And it's more likely for him to outsmart purple. Though obviously it could go either way, and the black player should be conscious to not over-attack me. Also, generally it's in your best interest to attack the player who has a turn after you. And with the purple player joining the black player's side, I wanted to attack purple, but I saw that he was a bit weaker than black, having an army which was made of only 17 troops. So I didn't want to potentially turn the game into the way which would increase the black player's chances to win the game by quite a bit, as after all I don't know how the purple player would have reacted. With the black player becoming quite stronger, it would have been the right thing for him to attack black, but he would have not necessarily followed it. I believe this is my first time playing with purple, so I've got to observe a bit how he plays. And then in the next turn I didn't invade the purple player into his continents because I didn't want to go through the black player's captured Europe, as I thought that maybe with the black player getting stronger the purple player might actually start attacking him by himself. But then with the black player isn't actually getting quite stronger than purple, and with me becoming quite weaker than them, I decided that it would probably be the best for me to stay still and do nothing, as what I noticed is that with both of them getting an insane amount of troops each turn, it could eventually become very risky for them to continue teaming up with each other, and at one point one of them could finally decide to betray another one. And I actually didn't expect that happening in this exact turn, but it looks like that the black player is finally done with the purple player. So that's awesome, as the purple player will probably strongly retaliate to him back. And that might actually be the strategy to beat teaming up players. If you're getting attacked in the 3-player situation and both of your opponents are in a really strong alliance, then you could just stop attacking at all and just start putting your troops to one big army. And while doing that, make sure that you're at a low amount of cards so to decrease the probability of getting taken out. as the more cards you have the more likely for someone it could be eventually worth to take you out. And yeah, you just continue doing nothing until one of the players realizes that it isn't good to be in the alliance with another strong player anymore and attacks him. So then with you getting to these players' troops level again, you can start making the attacks again and be as a decent player. As mentioned, for me the turn-wise would be better to attack purple over black, but the black player was stronger than purple and the purple player kinda blocked himself in Asia, and then how it personally looked from my own subjective observation of trying to understand the players is that the purple player was really fired up to team up with me after getting betrayed by black, while black attacked purple because he either thought that it doesn't worth for him to team up with purple anymore or was simply dissatisfied with him in general. So meaning that to get into a strong alliance it would be more likely with purple for me. Though the purple player now fortified his biggest army in Europe next to me and I'm not so sure about the vibes I'm getting. I'm not sure whether he would like to team up with me or black, both of the options are very possible. And the purple player is a mastermind by not being obvious, and that might have been possible for the black player to understand this fortification choice as a sign that he would like to be friends with him again. And alright. The black player pulls this very unexpected move which I will say is very bold as because if I do not have a set at 4 cards, then the purple player simply wins the game, especially with the black player putting his troops back to the blocked place and with the purple player having an ability to end up holding both of the Americas, Africa and Europe with only 2 borders to guard. But, luckily as you can see I have a set at 4 cards. But even with that the game could be still lost for both of us because it might be still worth for the purple player to take out the black player himself because he decided to weaken himself so much when he is at 5 cards and when the purple player is at 5 cards too. So while looking to the troops counter it looks what the balance of the game is in the place, actually it's not. And I'm not sure how it goes but for my part I did the best what I could of bringing the purple player below 12 territories. Thank God the purple player only got 6 troops set but even that might be enough for him to win the game unfortunately. But alright he is getting kinda bad blitzes here. And I would say it's not worth the risk for him anymore as even if he gets a good blitz here, the black player still has these 3 troops at the bottom of Australia which might be unlikely to take down. So rest in peace the purple player. That's a GG, but that's a GG for me. But maybe that's still possible for them to make a comeback somehow I'm not sure. Well actually forget about that with the black player focusing on attacking the territories of purple rather than invading me into Americas. So now that's a GG for sure. That's funny how everything actually turned out. Now I would recommend you watching another fun video with similar blizzards in which the African/European player actually was shielding both of the Americas player from the Australian player despite being twice as weak. That was actually a hilarious game as well.